Moselle Estate, under the dark, plane engines humming, leaving blood on the yard. Alex Murdaugh, king of the low country scam. It's the dirty South, where the family tree get shot. Damn.
Dirty South.
Dirty South, blood on the magnolia leaves. Stole from the clients, brought them to their knees. Ordered the hit on his blood, no remorse. Wife and son in the ground while he popping them by the horse. I can see by the handful, stand them to the pain. Deep South crime boss, playing the deadly game. Heat man did the dirty and flew off in the night. Moselle to the sky, disappearing out of sight. Dirty South, dirty South. Dirt on money, dirty South. Dirty South, dirty South. Alex in the big house, orange on his frame. But back in the day, he was running a different game. Millions from the client slip right in his pocket. Fake checks, fake settlements. He ain't even try to hide it. Head of the ring, low country organized. Law firm front, but the streets know the ties. Bunch of good old boys moving weight through the swamp while he's smiling in court like he one of the cops. But the pressure got heavy, the walls closing in. Wife Maggie starting to question where the money been. Paul running his mouth, boat crash on his hands. Daddy saw the incoming, made other plans. Dirty South, blood on the magnolia leaves. Stole from the clients, brought them to their knees. Ordered the hit on his blood, no remorse. Wife and son in the ground while he popping them by the horse. I can see by the handful, stand them to the pain. Deep South crime boss, playing the deadly game. Hit then did the dirty, then flew off in the night. Moselle to the sky, disappearing out of sight. 2 shots for Maggie, Paul got the spray. Ken dog face pale, red hair, cold as the grave. Hit men in the shadows, boots on the estate. Did the deed clean, then wiped the whole slate. Climbed in that plane under cover of dark. Engines whisper quiet, leaving death in the yard. Oxycontin cowboys, pills by the fistful. Numb to the screams, heart black as the pistol. Now he's sitting in prison, still lying through his teeth. But the feds got the paper trail, can't hide underneath. From the millions he stole to the blood on his hands. A dirty South legend fell hard in the sand. Breathe. Family photos still hanging on the wall, but the house is quiet, nobody left to call. Plain lights fade in the Carolina sky, while the oxy got him floating, watching his whole world die. Dirty South, blood on the magnolia leaves. He stole it all, then buried his whole family. Oxy about a handful, crime boss of the low country. Hitman did the dirty, then flew off under dark G. Dirty South, dirty South, dirty South. Murdaugh, you done, bro? Moselle Estate, lights out. The king is in chains, but the South don't forget.
Well, good morning, everybody. I hope you guys are all doing really well. Just me, you're the winner again. Thank you so much for jumping over as soon as I go live. I really appreciate that so much. Hey, Hoppy, cinnamon, hot, requiem, Piles Domain. I'm going to have to work on your name. Piles Domain. PLS Domain. I got to work on that. All right. So Alex Murdaugh, I'm all the way in the Galleria area about to go to work. I just got off at 7 at a different location. Oh my goodness. Be careful, Requiem. And it's so damn hot. Be careful. Be careful. Please. Okay. So Alex Murdaugh had a hearing this morning. And it's pretty it's just pretty boring standard fare. They met, of course, in Lexington County Courthouse. This was, I think, the first time that Alex has been in court since the murder conviction was overturned. Let me make sure I get this right. The South Carolina Supreme Court reversed the murder conviction due to improper jury interference by Colton County Clerk of Court Rebecca Hill. So congratulations, Rebecca Hill. You're a champ. You have cost not only Lexington County, but South Carolina millions of dollars, because that first trial was in the millions. And we'll see what ends up happening with this one. Though there were right off the bat, Garrison, one of Alex Murdaugh's attorneys, said, "Listen, Judge, we don't know how long this new trial is going to be. The last one was something like 6 weeks. It was crazy. Okay, we don't know how long it's going to be, because another point that the Supreme Court made was that the judge allowed all of this evidence for financial crimes, and he wasn't standing trial for financial crimes. And in fact, when you take out all that evidence for the financial crimes, it cuts this trial down to probably around 3 weeks. So they used all of the heartbreaking witnesses that had been the victim of Alex's financial crimes. They presented that as motive for why Maggie and Paul were murdered. The state presented that as evidence, as motive, right? And then they later came back and he pled guilty to all these crimes. So the argument that they made to the Supreme Court was, not only did Becky Hill, act like a low IQ fool, or she was a plant to get him another trial. They also had the problem with the financial crimes. They felt like Judge Newman really should not have allowed in the financial crimes, and that ended up being just a huge part of the whole trial. And the witnesses for the financial crimes were very, very sympathetic. Like, you felt furious. If you weren't already angry about Maggie and Paul, which everybody really was, if you weren't already angry about them, then the witnesses that had been wronged through financial crimes, that just lit everybody up. That was it. That was like, you are a slime. People get mad every day and kill a family member, right? We see that. That's pretty commonplace. But to steal from a disabled kid, no, sorry. No, that doesn't happen every day. That is true psychopathy, and you are a snake. So now they're saying, that when this judgment was handed down that overturned the conviction, Alex attorneys are saying, we're not just having a problem with what Rebecca Hill did with the jury. We're having a real problem with this evidence that came in, and the South Carolina Supreme Court has already said those financial crimes that should not have been presented or allowed in the way that it was. So that is going to be a battle. So it was a fairly boring, kind of run-of-the-mill status here. I guess it's considered a status hearing. But there were a couple of interesting points. One was, it's clear that the defense is going to fight like hell to keep those witnesses off the stand. They're going to try to get the financial crimes information out the door. and really only deal with just what is the evidence you have that this man is the one that killed his wife and son. Another moment in the hearing that I thought was interesting, it was a moment, it wasn't long, it's a little moment, but it was enough that made me sit upright and go, oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Very interesting. And that was the murder of Stephen, oh my God, what was his name? Stephen Smith, right? The young man who also has red hair and looks very much like the Murdaugh boys, okay? That he was found murdered, and there was a lot of rumor that his murder was connected both through rumor as well as evidence to the Murdaugh clan. So they even invoked that and said, you know, Judge, we have uncovered information that SLED, the state investigators in South Carolina, that they hid evidence. Basically, they had evidence that showed this connection between the murder of this boy that went to school with Paul and his brother, that there is connection between what happened to Paul and Maggie and what happened to that young man. And I was like, wow, my eyes got big. I was like, did he really just say that? So that was very interesting. And again, of course, Waters, the prosecutor, he's going to fight this tooth and nail. He's not going to just sit down and go, okay, let it in. So this is going to be interesting, to say the least. What I thought was going to be kind of just a replay and a lot of the same information and not many fireworks, I guess. I think I might be wrong. So I'm feeling like the status hearing, I believe they set a new hearing for August 14th. I believe if the status hearing that comes up August 14th, there's going to be a lot of paper that's going to be going to this judge saying you shouldn't allow this or you shouldn't allow that. And then they'll sort of fight it out and she'll issue her decisions. The judge at this time is a circuit court judge. Her name is Deborah McCaslin, and I really, really liked her. It was nice to see a woman up there. So that I really liked that. Let me think if there was another moment in the hearing that I thought was really interesting. New evidence. Okay, of course, we had the connection between Stephen's murder and the Murdaugh clan, but he also, Dick Harpootlian, said that they have concerns that evidence was hidden, suppressed, but that they believe that the crime scene was manipulated. That the crime scene was cleaned and manipulated, meaning there was no evidence at the crime scene. What? What do you mean there's no evidence? Two people get shot in broad daylight. There's no evidence? Excuse me? How did that happen?
Under the dark.
Where did all the evidence go? Oh, in that airplane. Yeah.
Alex Murdaugh, king of the low country scam.
So I am of the opinion, and I have been from the beginning, I don't think that Alec pulled the trigger. That, again, this is wild speculation at its best, okay? I've said the story, I can't embrace the story because I can't imagine the time frame. You're saying that this guy almost point blank ends the life of his son and his wife in a fairly contained area, right? The gun is missing, and her phone is her phone is missing, and he doesn't have a speck of evidence on him anywhere. But supposedly immediately after shooting almost point blank with Paul, it was further away with Maggie, but with Paul it wasn't. He shoots Paul and Maggie. He takes the gun. He gets in the truck. He's got to drive somewhere to get rid of the gun, because the gun's never been found. They did, in fact, they were able to find the phone. The phone was thrown from what is believed to be a moving truck vehicle into the woods. They did locate it. And then he goes to his dad's estate. He goes straight to his mom and dad's estate, where people see him. People talk to him. He spends time with them. And here's the part that I can't wrap my brain around. He doesn't have any blood on him, y'all. He doesn't have any blood on him. Okay, wait a minute. Your timeline is too hard to embrace, Sled. How did he do that? Is he magical? Did he shoot them? And of course, as close as he was, and the type of gun that was used, there would have been blowback. He didn't get a speck of blood on him anyway. And then he jumps into his truck, and there's no blood found in the trucks. And he gets to his mom's house, and there's no blood found at their house. How did he do that? Well, then they come back and they say, well, there's evidence that he took a shower. There's evidence that he cleaned up. Yeah, but your timeline doesn't give him the opportunity to go get cleaned up. Your timeline and the geofencing where the phone was moving, he would have had to have moved quickly. So I've always felt like, and that's the reason the song that I'm using for this story, that's the reason the song talks about an airplane disappearing into the night, that someone was there. Someone was there. The housekeeper has done multiple interviews, and she said that she saw the cleanup guys in the video. She said there's a video out there, and you can see people walking away as the cops are driving up. Now, I don't know what that is. I tried to find it. I didn't find anything like that. But that's what she said in multiple interviews, right? Well, it turns out now, according to this hearing that they had this morning in Dick Harpootlian, it turns out that the Colton County Sheriff's Office, there was a sheriff's deputy, Captain Jason Chapman. He said in his interviews, when he was meeting with people, in his report, he said that when they went down to collect evidence down around the dog kennels in that area, nothing was found other than Paul and Maggie and the damage from Paul and Maggie's body. But they didn't find anything else. How is that possible? You're going to tell me you're going to tell me that someone was fighting with Maggie and there wasn't a strand, an ounce of DNA that dropped anywhere? How's that possible? How's that possible? So the deputy, Captain Jason Chapman, he said in his report that it was a scene that had been cleaned, that he felt that there were a lot of signs that the scene was manipulated. Oh, okay. Now, Mr. Waters, now you've got to add that into the timeline. So now we've got Alec shooting them. Paul was very near. So he would have gotten something on him. But now he's got time to get the water hose out and to clean everything off and get everything set up and dispose of the gun and throw the phone and get cleaned up, take a shower, and get to his mom and dad's house. Cool as a cucumber, not an ounce of blood on him. You know what they say in the South? That dog don't hunt. It's not realistic. So who did the dirty deed? And I'm not saying, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that this man, this animal, I'm not saying that he didn't do it. He did it by way of like the Adelsons did it. There was conspiracy, in my opinion. My theory of the crime. There was conspiracy. He paid some professionals to do the dirty deed. They came in on an airplane and they left on an airplane. Alec, he was supposed to stay at the house and nap on the sofa and then get in his truck and drive over to his parents' house so that he would have an alibi. And curiosity, I believe, got the best of him. And that's why he went down to the stables. So we'll see where it all goes, right? It's so interesting. And I honestly, truly did not think that this was going to be a very interesting trial. I mean, they basically, the previous trial was called South Carolina's Trial of the Century. The local newspapers were calling it the Trial of the Century. Will we get a replay of that? I don't know. The new trial date is April the 5th, 2027. He, just like the previous trial, he will face 2 murder charges and the related weapons charges. But after what the Supreme Court said about the financial crimes, the fact that he's pled guilty, he is serving 27 years for state financial crimes and 40 years for federal financial crimes. So what would be the purpose of allowing that evidence back into the trial, right? So this is going to be, I think this is going to turn out to be, rather interesting. You know what I mean? Now there's one more interesting little tidbit, a morsel, if you will. And you know how much I just love microexpressions, right? So let me make sure y'all can see this. There we go. So this is from today. Thank God we have a rambling creator on the case who plans to cover the trial in person. Who will that be? Who's going to be at the trial, Hybrid? I mean, those are the charges, Cinnamon. There are no conspiracy charges. The charges are directly, he done the dirty deed. Oh my God. Is she going? Tell me she's not going, Hybrid. Good Lord. Ugh. The video put him at the kennel. Exactly. No, he was definitely at the kennel. No doubt about it. Yeah, absolutely at the kennel. Hybrid. No. Oh, God help us. That's just what we need is the rambler at the trial. Good Lord. Good Lord. Oh, God help us. Okay, well, we'll have to ignore all that. Okay. So there's a little morsel here with some micro expressions that I thought that I would share with you. So take a peek.
And it is going to be an issue that we're going to have to brief and argue with Your Honor as to, we don't think any of the financial crime evidence should come in at trial. And so I'm just flagging that it would be helpful to us, I believe, and to know if we're going to have to defend against that during the trial, or they or are they going to be able to put it up? And so I'm just asking maybe some earlier date where we can have, your honor address those issues.
We will. I'm just going to tell you, I like to address all pretrial matters beforehand, because when I say April the 5th, we're picking a jury and going forward. All those issues.
Okay, so Alex, he likes that. He likes that she's being definitive about the date, and he starts shaking his head yes and kind of rocking. Okay, now the prosecutor is about to make a statement. It's very difficult to hear, but he's about to make a statement that's sort of like, hey, judge, we've already turned everything over. All our cards are out on the table. You guys have everything, and you know everything that we have. But watch Alex's reaction. I love those micro expressions. This was a macro expression, actually.
It should be decided by then.
Your Honor, that's my practice as well. We filed extensive pretrial motions prior to the prior trial, laying all our cards on the table. It's exactly why we thought that was admissible.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And Alex says, bullshit. That's not right. You are the sneaky guy. So right there, I really think that might be the only, I think that was his only real noticeable reaction. Well, was it really? There when they brought up Steven's name, he flushed red. His cheeks got super duper red. So, but it was, you can't control flushing, right? Like your face, the heat that comes, that's physiological reaction to an internal neurological event. And there's no controlling that kind of thing at all. But he didn't change his demeanor. He didn't move. He didn't have a look on his face. You didn't see any of that, right? It was just that the kind of change that a polygraph picks up is basically what you saw. But this, he did not like what Colton had to say.
Why we thought that was admissible.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
He's like, yeah, you liar. You're full of it. You're an asshole. We'll see. What does it mean? I have no idea. But clearly, at least one of these three men, they think that the prosecutor is holding back evidence, that he suppressed evidence, that he didn't engage in full discovery. Something, because Alex's action, this was the only outward change in demeanor or countenance through the whole hearing. So I thought that was interesting. All right, that's basically what I was going to say today. I'm retracting for obvious reasons. Thank you, Hybrid, because we don't want to resurrect that monster, right? Yeah, I'm with you. She's something. Hey, Old Woman of the Hills, you like the song? Yeah, that's my Dirty South song. It's got my theory of the crime. But I shall not be like Gray Hughes. If you want to have a different theory, then I invite you to share it, because we're here all about sharing ideas. We're not here about, lording over one another and trying to say what you're supposed to believe or not believe. So, yeah. So I thought that was interesting. What do y'all think about this? How many of you are interested to watch this new trial? We went through the retrial of Karen Reed, and there were a lot of fireworks in the retrial. So yeah, keep it away, Cinnamon. Ooh, that is something we do not want to relive. You know what I mean? God, she was nuts. All right. Okay, so I am disgusted at Colton County Clerk of Courts Becky Hill, as well as the grifter Mandy Matney. You know, Dick Harpootlian has been he has been very vocal about Mandy Matney, very vocal in his distrust and anger, and he got dangerously close to a little bit of slander. But if the shoe fits, right, she didn't really conduct herself with integrity, you know. Definitely going to be unexpected twists. Yeah, I think after watching this, I think so. I really thought it was going to be kind of boring, a replay. Oh yeah, they're two peas in a pod. Yeah, the difference is Lauren's got a great plastic surgeon. You know, that's about it. So, and she was smart enough to marry a forensic psychologist who was easily manipulated into doing whatever she told him to do. That too helps her channel. So, the sound on this hearing is awful, very difficult to hear. I had to put my headphones on so I could listen. I even tried putting it up on my big TV, and you just couldn't make out what anybody was saying except the judge. So I don't think I'm going to play it. I'm sure Emily Baker, she'll probably try to clean up the sound, and she'll have great commentary on it, of course. Here's the thing about me, okay? I don't follow along in the crowd and repeat what the talking lawyers say. I just give you exactly my response, and I'm responding to the people. I'm not responding as like an expert in law. That's not my forte. So maybe I see things a little differently. Maybe I pick up on something that someone doesn't want to pick up on. And that's all. That's great, because that's what makes YouTube interesting. It gives more people to go and see different perspectives, right? My perspective is more from, you know, does this make sense? The arguments that are being made, do they align with what we know about people in psychology? And, you know, there's some of this case that has always screamed conspiracy to commit murder. So it's the same thing with the Adelson case. I just don't think Charlie was involved. I definitely think and believe to the ends of the earth and back, Donna was involved. Allegedly, in my opinion, I think Wendy was probably involved. She really was the only one that gained anything out from the death of Markel. But I can't find a single thing about Charlie that aligns. And I know that a lot of those people have said, oh, you know, it was enmeshment and he was a mommy pleaser. I'm sorry. I could sit here all day long and show video clips that illustrate, no, that is inaccurate. And the friends of Charlie from school, from dental school, their reports of the kind of person Charlie was did not align with psychopath or enmeshed mommy's boy. We can't just like grab what is convenient, right? It's got to actually align with what we know, which is that's my whole complaint toward John Matthias in his evaluation and analysis of Richard Allen. He just picked random crap to try to make an argument. And if you're not a discerning thinker, if you don't have a certain background, then you don't realize that what he's saying is it's nonsensical. He needed many different perspectives to try to make it fit with what he wanted it to be. And, you know, John, we're not supposed to be fishing for data, and we're not supposed to be making things up because it's convenient, right? So, yeah. Anyway, I've given you my thoughts on this. It's very quick, down and dirty kind of little video. And you are right. I am going to be back and we are going to finish the information on John Matthias's analysis of Richard Allen and my disagreement with John. All right. I'll be back in a few minutes or a little while. See you later. Bye.
Moselle Estate. Under the dark.
Please hit the thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll be back to talk about Richard Allen.
Alex Murdaugh, king of the low country scam. It's the dirty South, where the family tree get shot. Damn.
Dirty South.
Dirty South, blood on the magnolia leaves. Stole from the claims, brought them to their knees. Ordered the hit on his blood, no remorse. Wife and son in the ground while he popping them by the horse. I can see by the handful, stand them to the pain. Deep South crime boss, playing the deadly game. Heat man did the dirty and flew off in the night. Moselle to the sky, disappearing out of sight. Dirty South, dirty South. Dirt on money, dirty South. Dirty South, dirty South. Alex in the big house, orange on his frame. But back in the day, he was running a different game. Millions from the client slip right in his pocket. Fake checks, fake settlements. He ain't even try to hide it. Head of the ring, low country organized. Law firm front, but the streets know the ties. Bunch of good old boys moving weight through the swamp while he's smiling in court like he one of the cops. But the pressure got heavy, the walls closing in. Wife Maggie starting to question where the money been. Paul running his mouth, boat crash on his hands. Daddy saw the end coming, made other plans. Dirty South, blood on the magnolia leaves. Stole from the clients, brought them to their knees. Ordered the hit on his blood, no remorse. Wife and son in the ground while he popping them by the horse. I can see by the handful, stand them to the pain. Deep South crime boss, playing the deadly game. Hit then did the dirty, then flew off in the night. Moselle to the sky, disappearing out of sight. 2 shots for Maggie, Paul got the spray. Ken dog face pale, red hair, cold as the grave. Hitmen in the shadows, boots on the estate. Did the deed clean, then wiped the whole slate. Climbed in that plane under cover of dark. Engines whisper quiet, leaving death in the yard. Oxycontin cowboys, pills by the fistful. Numb to the screams, heart black as the pistol. Now he's sitting in prison, still lying through his teeth. But the feds got the paper trail, can't hide underneath. From the millions he stole to the blood on his hands. A dirty South legend fell hard in the sand. Breathe. Family photos still hanging on the wall, but the house is quiet, nobody left to call. Plain lights fade in the Carolina sky, while the oxy got him floating, watching his whole world die. Dirty South, blood on the magnolia leaves. He stole it all, then buried his whole family. Oxy about a handful, crime boss of the low country. Hitman did the dirty, then flew off on the dark G. Dirty South, dirty South, dirty South. Murdaugh, you done, bro? Moselle Estate, lights out. The king is in chains, but the South don't forget.